Welcome back again to the 2018 Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills Tournament. My name is Jay Hobbs, and I am joined today on co-commentary with Rainbow Poogle. Poogle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Hobbs?
I'm doing pretty great because we've got an excellent lineup for you tonight. We got 3 more matches during this broadcast, and then we've got another one coming up at midnight Eastern tonight. And this next one I know is going to be super special, Poogle.
This is going to be a heck of a race. This is between TheRooseIsLoose89 and MrRandomson.
Yeah, it's the PBs between these two are only like 30 or 40 seconds apart. It's super close right now. This is definitely anybody's match.
32 seconds, to be exact. It's going to be really, really good. Both runners are doing keyboard mouse, getting the exact same health cells, it looks like. This is going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, the route shouldn't really be any different, which is going to be fun to, point out, all right, who lost 5 seconds here, who gained 10 seconds back here, that kind of thing is just going to happen throughout this entire run. Random little fun facts, as you can see that we got down there. Randomson is actually neighbors with Brynhold, so maybe if they end up meeting up in the brackets or something, we can get an in-person race. That'd be pretty fun.
That'd be pretty swell.
These two have actually matched up before.
Ooh.
Last year in the tournament, Randomson and Roos matched up, and Randomson lost that match. Back then, they were significantly worse off than they are now, as you can see from the times listed there. But I can guarantee you Randomson's looking to even out the score here.
Oh, absolutely. Big improvement from both runners from then to now, and I'm hoping for a really good match here.
It's certainly going to be an exciting one, and we are getting the runners ready here in just a moment. So why don't we go ahead and step on over to the race screen. In just a moment. There we go.
There. I love that transition. So smooth.
Excellent as always. We'll be starting up shortly. Roos on your left, Randomson on your right. There they go. And as always, if you are losing track of who's in the lead at any point throughout the race, you can check who has more skills in the skill wheels underneath. But also, we've now got the first and second place indicators for you there. So hopefully those should stay updated throughout. And here we go into Glades.
Runners are very well synced going down in here, as to be expected from these two.
Definitely, especially early on. No kind of big hiccups from the prologue skip or anything like that. Going to be picking up energy, and then shortly after our first skill, it's I'm waiting for that one day that we see somebody drop in the water on the way to sign and end up losing a significant amount of time.
Or get hit by the rhino.
Yeah. Well, get hit by the rhino is not too bad. You actually do get a full heal from sign, as I have known from experience because of getting hit by the rhino. I'm getting word already that both runners are in fact on PB pace at the moment, so good job on them for the first 60 seconds of the match.
Looks like Randomson went through a couple of color codes too. Looks like Ori disappeared for a second.
Yeah, so maybe the meme king himself, Roos is Loose, is not too up to date on the memes. I don't know, we'll have to see. But both getting through the Frankie fight pretty cleanly, so they're going to be heading out back towards wall jump now that they have signed the ability to attack things. See how they handle this jump pad coming up, because this is something that can actually, you can end up landing on the jump pad and collecting experience and often losing time, but both do it very cleanly. Nobody having any issues with the slime either. I didn't see if anybody took a hit from the initial bramble, but they're going to be trying to get their health down.
Did.
Okay, so he just has to keep that in mind. It looks like he got a health drop too, possibly. So just have to keep all of these minor factors in mind in a race that's as close as this. And, Randomson getting the unlucky energy drop from the slime. He'll probably try to skip that. And, wow, oh no, he must have already gotten an energy drop earlier, because he picked that up and still did not have to worry about an extra animation. It's very minor things, but even with just slight hiccups, you see Randomson already taking about a 1 to 2 second lead over Roos here.
Roos looked like he might have had 2 health going into the ghost door.
Yeah, had a little bit more trouble there. He also had trouble falling down after grabbing the keystone initially. So Randomson and Roos both opting for your least favorite health cell, Poogle.
Well, it does provide the first bit to get through and provides a full HP refill. So that is always nice.
Very nice after the ghost door, where you obviously want to get your health down to 1. Randomson maintaining that lead. It looks like maybe Roos caught back up a little bit, but nothing too major going on here. Hopefully we won't see any kind of deaths from either of our runners yet, because as we know, as those of you who have been watching throughout the tournament know, these early game deaths are brutal. Why exactly is that, Poogle? Because we don't always get to talk about that very much.
Because a lot of times you don't have the energy or the want to really safety save this early, and if you take a death, you're either all the way back to the ghost door, or if you take a death right after here, back to the wall jump.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of time losses that you always hate to see out of the early game, but no such luck from either runners here, which is good. Randomson getting to the tree first. They actually had a nice little sink dropping down through the elbow there, but able to get a little bit ahead was Randomson because Roos had a minor hiccup getting hit by a slime, I believe.
Well, both of them grabbing the second energy and heading on their way back up.
Yep, and looks like Randomson and Roos. Oh, that's right. They both level up on the way down. For a second, I thought one of them didn't, but they don't have to worry about any of these brambles due to that early level up. Roos not even having to worry about the upper brambles, so that's always nice. It's very easy to kind of get a weird ramp from the game on one of those walls and take damage and potentially die off the bramble wall. So nice for him that was cleared out for him.
Both getting over both of those slimes excellently.
Yeah, and something about, I think Roos's wall jumping has just been slightly cleaner here. He's already caught up just a tiny bit. You know, again, frames here and there, but they start to add up quickly over the course of the run. This is already the second time that Roos has made up just a little bit of time. And as I say that, there he goes falling below the rock there. So
cursing people already.
Already, but that's okay. As long as I don't curse anybody on Frankie Walk, then we're good.
You just had to say something.
I had to get it out of the way now so I don't say it later. All right, well, entering into Black Root Burrows now, the nice and dark area where we picked up our fastest skill. Randomson is going to be doing the save anywhere glitch, skipping the cutscene, and entering on in.
Mm-hmm.
Roos following suit very nicely. Now, Randomson, I didn't really get a chance to talk with either of the runners here, but I wouldn't expect if the nerves are hitting them too much. If anything, I would maybe expect a little more out of Randomson just because Roos has already had a match. Or I believe he's already had a match, and has already done some commentary as well for the tournament. So maybe, just as I say that, though, Roos falling right into the deadly spikes there and going to be immediately dying. I believe those spikes do 3 damage, so even with the 4 health, you have a chance to get out, but not where he fell. So rough death from Roos.
Oof. Let's see who can catch this up. Randomson getting the 100 XP orb at the top of that little wall jump section there, which is done backwards.
Yeah, you do actually end up coming right back through the area that you leave, as you see Roos on the left now doing for himself. I believe Randomson had a bit of just a little trouble getting that experience, so we'll see if that affects his cycles coming up here. I think he may miss them. No, looks like he's good. He either missed an entire one or was on the right cycle. I believe he was on the right one though, so not a chance for Roos to catch up there yet.
Roos looking like he's getting a good laser cycle.
Yep, and through those cleanly he is. The lasers, of course, are a one-shot kill, so definitely not something that you want to, have tickle Ori's hair or anything like that. Randomson now into the next room, see how his cycle manipulation went. Ooh, very aggressive, but he does nail it, so nice job from him saving as many frames as possible. All right, I'm not familiar with if these runners are watching each other. It's another one of those things that I would probably expect out of Roos to be watching his opponent here, or perhaps looking over at Smashy's computer and seeing if she's watching the main stream. But I did not get a chance to speak to them, so we'll have to ask them after if we manage to pull them in for a post-game interview or something, see who was watching whom and how that might have affected their mentality. I am getting word, because we do have Smashy over there, that Roos is indeed watching Randomson. So thank you for the update, Smashy. And that may affect his play. He knows he's at a bit of a deficit right now. I'm sure he's going to be trying to use that as a motivational factor to come in strong.
And Roos getting his save anywhere to skip this cutscene, as Randomson is going to high-five him on the way out.
Already picked up the dash skill, and so he's flying pretty quick. And he's going to head over to his Frankie Walk. Now, we'll see if he goes for a safety save here. I wouldn't expect it. No, skips right by it. Roos now picking up dash. And Randomson is already 10 seconds ahead of his PB at the dash tree. So very nice early game from him so far. And again, it's been pretty nice from Roos as well, other than that one death. So it's not the kind of thing that you want to see, obviously, but it looks like he didn't have, you know, the early nerves hitting him immediately on the way to wall jump or anything like that. Probably just a slight slip of the keyboard when doing the platforming.
Randomson coming up to the door for the Frankie Walk. And he gets it through.
Yep, managed his experience well, but now he has to go through the Death Gauntlet. No safety saves allowed here because he didn't get a lucky energy drop. And it looks like he's through the Frankie. He's generally pretty safe at this point, but has to deal with these last few brambles. No missed shots from Sign. Looks like he's going to be good. Roos is now making his attempt to the Death Gauntlet fairly soon. I'm sure he didn't have any experience hiccups here or anything like that, so should be opening this door. Oh, and he actually gets the safety energy. So he will spend that little bit of time just to drop a safety save. Certainly a well-advised move there. Meanwhile, on the right side, Randomson's going to go for an early Grotto cycle here. The success rate so far in the tournament has not been great, and Randomson very nearly gets it, but not quite able to. So 8-second potential catch-up for Roos coming up here. Roos makes it through the Death Gauntlet safely and will be taking his attempt momentarily. So keep an eye on the left side of your screen. So we'll see he will pause for just a moment as he gets to the top of this platform and then fire on through, and he does not make it either. Look just as close as Randomson, so narrowly both runners missing the early Grotto cycle. I know that's a trick that several runners have been struggling with, and Randomson takes a death on the slime.
And another one.
So he's back to just after the Ghost Door. That is opening up the chance for Roos to make up some time here. If he just has some clean movement to double jump, he can certainly catch up about 6 or so seconds. And here we go. Randomson taking his blind movement on the way out of double jump, going to be passing by Roos, and Roos makes it cleanly to double jump tree himself and places his save in order to do his blind movement as well. So catching up time already. Roos is going to be aware of that factor since he's watching his opponent. Randomson, we are not 100% sure on, but I'm sure that he would be very worried after taking a death like that.
Randomson heading to the next energy. Needs to pick up.
Yeah, and that will be the final energy cell for a while. Eventually the runners will each be picking up a 5th one. Roos not far behind him at all, does it as well. Randomson gets a nice Grotto skip.
Grotto skip.
Excellent job. Very precise platforming here, and Roos does as well.
Right on his heels.
I think Roos's climbing was even a little more clean there, so maybe saving just a hair during the Grotto skip. And now they're already climbing into the same section, climbing back out of Grotto.
So close.
This is the exact kind of race I was hoping for here, Poogle. I mean, like we said, both the runners' PBs are very close. Roos has the edge when it comes to PBs, but Randomson has the motivational factor of losing last year's matchup. So he's definitely got to be going for that revenge, and so far it's showing that it's working pretty well for him.
Oh, yeah. Randomson now jumping up towards... heading towards the inside tree with Roos out in his heels.
And I would imagine at this point, too, any of those early game nerves have probably started to wash away. You know, generally, once you're through the Death Gauntlet, you can kind of breathe a heavy sigh of relief. And so even with Roos taking, you know, kind of a nasty death early, I'm sure for him as well, any of those jitters have started to wash away at this point, and they can both focus on just playing very cleanly throughout the rest of this run.
Roos's climbing is looking exceptionally well with the double jumps.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job of just knowing... Oh, well, Caster's Curse there, but not a bad death at all. Very easy safety save to make, since you do take that intentional level up right after, which refills all of your energy, of course. Now Randomson's coming up to activate his Swamp Teleporter. Both runners are getting this ability cell up at the top here. That is a route difference we may see out of some of our runners, because the option of doing a trick called Crazy Juggle later in the run can lead to skipping that ability cell, but both these runners going for the same tricks and using the Terra Break route that has been very popular so far in this tournament.
That's right. Randomson entering the first dungeon of the game, the Ginso tree.
Yeah, and the Ginso tree is not somewhere where you often take gigantic deaths, but can easily lead to a nasty fall that could swing our lead here in one way or the other. But based on our play here, what do you think, Poogle? Is Randomson going to be making any early mistakes here?
With the way both of us have been saying things, I don't want to say anything about it.
That is very fair, but he is looking very nicely done through the first two rooms, so he'll be moving on. I would expect another safety save from here momentarily. Ooh, not quite. So he could take a nasty death here, and there's some damage from the spikes. Ooh, and not quite getting his dash glide cleanly. Still opting not to save. He has the energy. I'm not sure why he has not decided it on this yet, but he's through to the puzzle room, so Randomson will probably be fine now. Roos taking a slightly different and barely faster route will catch up a fraction of time as well, but also not making many safety saves, so both runners playing with confidence.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I am as well. Only a 19-second difference between these runners coming into this dungeon. We'll have to see how that lead shapes up as they hit the kind of midpoint, which is Bash. Be coming up very shortly for Randomson after he deals with this mini boss. So far, Randomson doing a nice job of keeping an eye out for the one-frame tell from the mini boss, and he had a pretty good boss fight there, pretty much exactly what you would want. Both runners, it looks like, opting for the scroll wheel shooting method in order to get as quick of shots as they can. Ooh, Roos not quite catching the tell as well, and Ooh narrowly dies to one of the shots there, but does a nice job dodging. And he had to wait, yeah, he's had to wait a few more cycles here than Randomson, so not what he's looking for this catch-up. Randomson, however, out of energy. Not able to perform that ghost door, so another chance for Roos to save about 2 seconds. And ooh, gets a nice little jump as well, Roos on the left side, who has really been trying to schedule all of his matches pretty quickly, I'd say. Try to get him out of the way while he's still in tip-top shape.
He's gotten up to the Bash tree as Randomson is putting the Bash into application, getting up the rest of the tree.
Oh, Randomson narrowly missed another cycle. He had already missed one on the way up here. So he's leaving the door just slightly cracked open, and Roos is trying to take advantage as best he can, but every now and then, just a minor slip up is all it takes to even that back out. With actually our update. Oh, God! Randomson actually takes a death there. It's not the worst in the world, but it's certainly the kinds of mistakes that Roos needs at the moment. And Roos, however, having some double bashes as well. I think he basically had similar cycles through the spitters that that Randomson did. Ooh, Roos is trying for a top save, but was not able to. So he was trying to save a little bit more time there and ended up losing a couple seconds instead. But he has not died going for this key duplication like Randomson did once. So he should still be able to save a bit of time as long as he does this well, and he does successfully get that key duplication. It was very close, though.
Super close.
Now Randomson heading into the final mini boss, so we shouldn't see a lead change here, at least not for a moment. So coming into this swamp entry, Poogle, what do you think? Do these runners, you know, are the nerves going to hit them when they know that they're this close, especially Roos, who we know is watching, for such a difficult trick such as the swamp entry? Are we going to, you know, see some uncharacteristic mistakes, or is it just, all right, I'm just going to do my best, play my game? What do you think here? Again, we'll have to ignore the caster's curse.
Okay. I think both of them are going to get it, considering that these two don't seem like the type of runners to get that kind of nerves, even if they're close, because they're, if anything, trying to outperform themselves out of everything else.
Well, and Randomson is certainly seeming to prove you right so far. Continues to do the blind movement here instead of opting for the 1 or so second slower method of watching the cutscene. Roos, hot on his tail, does the exact same thing. Randomson, though, is looking to drop a safety save. We'll see if Roos opts for that as well or just goes gung-ho at the swamp entry. Oh, and Randomson takes a bath and is not going to have enough health to hit the spikes. So, ooh, kills his frog and has to go again. Roos, meanwhile, has caught up. They are now both on the trick at the same time. anybody's game at this point. First one to finish will determine the lead.
Looks like they're both going for the double bash.
And they're both having to wait on some extra shots as well. Unfortunately for Randomson, he has to wait on a few more than Roos, and Roos makes it through cleanly. We'll see if he opts for a safety save immediately. No, he's going to wait for the door. So Roos will be taking the lead, and Randomson just having a bit more trouble with these frog shots finally makes it through. So not too bad of a swamp entry there from Randomson, but it was just enough to give Roos that lead change. Now Roos is going to make it up to Swamp, and Randomson is not opting for the hyperspeed here. He's going to instead just wait on the door and fall in the water. I didn't quite catch if he made a save, but it looks like he was able to get out just in time anyways. I'll have to be careful not to take a hit from this mortar worm or anything like that. And it looks like he'll be nice and safe. Roos with some style points going for a little bit of a stomp there.
This is so close.
It is indeed. And Roos is now making his way back out of Swamp. He's going to head over and grab an ability cell. Now, we've seen a bit of trouble with this ability cell. It's not quite as bad as, you know, the Swamp entry, but this frog can still be a jerk here. So far for Roos, everything looks good, and he does go for a safety bash. So maybe now that he knows he has the lead, he wants to make sure that he just kind of takes that extra half a second somewhere to make sure that he gets something first try rather than second.
However,
go for it.
Our truck brings up a good point. One missed up Kuro skip could completely flip this on its head.
And it is a fail from Roos. He does not go for the reload, so he's going to watch this cutscene. Randomson, hot on the tail, is coming right up now. He's going to take his attempt at it, and if he passes right on through this cutscene trigger, then he will pass right on through Roos. And there he does. So Randomson taking the lead back immediately, not even right at the end of Thornfelt Swamp. He didn't even let it get more than one area before he took that lead right back.
Both runners getting that fifth.
Oh, Randomson had a really... Wow, what a nice backup, though. Randomson had trouble with the first spider shot, but now it's basically tied, both going into the reload at the same time to skip another cutscene, and they're going to head over to their 7th skill, Charge Flame, at the exact same time.
Oh, this is so close.
That's all it takes.
Is getting the stomp and getting the Frankie to follow them.
Just that one spider shot that Randomson had to wait on where Roos did not is all it took to even this race back out. And now this is exactly what we were hoping for.
They're both even going for the save anywhere from the tree.
I wonder if I don't think either runner is going for early charge dash based on the experience we've seen them pick up so far. So I would imagine that they're both doing this in order to charge flame the wall coming up here. We'll see if they can do that. And being able to do that, yeah, there we go. Being able to do that save anywhere before the Hollow Grove teleporter allows them to do that early charge flame there instead of actually stomping the wall, just saving a little bit of time since they're going to grab this energy crystal anyways. And now Roos has had a harder time.
In trouble with the bird.
Harder time getting up to this stomp peg here. But we're coming on to an important trick, aren't we, Poogle?
Oh yeah, we're coming up the stompless. And a lot of things can go wrong in this, and a lot of things can go right. So, hey Hobbs, is a delta if it's 0 seconds?
Yeah, that's a good point. Man, I cannot believe how close this has been so far. Now, we have seen so far in this race, I would say that Roos has had the cleaner bashing by just a little bit over Randomson. So maybe he has the edge coming in here. That shot looked pretty good from Randomson, but it's always hard to tell here in the commentator's booth. I'll pretend like we got a live booth for this one. Oh no! He went for the damage boost backup, but it was too slow to get the cell. So Randomson is going to have to either take a slower route in Sorrow or go around again and get the cell. Roos, meanwhile, picks the cell up. So even though Roos is still in second place at the moment, he will very likely take the lead coming up here in Sorrow.
That spider shot looked pretty good too. I don't think you need to go for that.
Yeah, I believe Randomson just had a little trouble. He just grabbed his bash a little early, and he will indeed be snagging the frog here. So he's going to head right into Sorrow Pass and going to have to avoid the Terra Break, trick that we actually do normally, and is instead going to have to do the older and slower frog juggle route. unless he decides to opt for something a bit crazier called Crazy Juggle. Ooh, but that death is going to give Roos the lead immediately. Actually, it's just about tied.
No, they're directly there.
Roos opting for a few more double bashes here, but Randomson opting to throw himself into the spikes is going to finally give Roos that secure first place for the moment. And Roos, again, still up that extra ability point, is going to be able to do the Terror Break method.
Oof.
Randomson is looking good with his rocket jumps, though. Flying on through now. We'll see if he goes for any extra energy as well. This is where we're going to see what he opts for. He's going to drop an extra save, and then, wow, very nicely done. Quickly getting through the... oh, I'm sorry, on the left. Roos, good thing he dropped a safety save because he died in that Sunchip Sanctuary, as Grim liked to call it earlier. Randomson, meanwhile, though, now having trouble performing the old backup strat, which I am not surprised by. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and when you're not used to doing it in these runs, you know, in a PB attempt, you would probably reset around something like that, right, Poogle?
Probably, but this is a really great adaptation for him to get this right.
And now it will look... oh, wow, actually, I was going to say it will look like Randomson is ahead for a moment, but instead... oh, wow! What a narrow dodge on the spikes there. But Randomson is opting to go over to the charge jump tree before actually going up to the Sunstone, which is the intended route for the Terror Break that you see Roos doing on the left. But when you're doing the Frog Juggle, you actually tend to flip the order of those two events. But Randomson, not wanting to throw himself off coming back out of Sorrow, decides to try to keep it as close to the route he's used to as he can.
Oh. Hasn't started the save anywhere yet.
Well, he shouldn't need it here. He could save it at the top. Since he got an energy refill from that skill tree, he can go ahead and save up at the top and start a save anywhere there, instead of worrying about doing it through all the way through these spikes, that is, sorry. You can see that float there, the mouse movement's not too happy with it. There's a save anywhere, so Roos heading out of Sorrow as Randomson goes for that Sunstone key to the final dungeon.
So, Misty is scary.
Misty is the great equalizer, I would say, yes.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, yeah.
Certainly could see some lead changes there. However, now our runners have a good bit of energy, right? They've got 5 energy. Energy used for saves, but also used for these charge dashes means Roos may not want to make some safety saves. What do you think, Poogle? If you were watching your opponent and you knew that you had this lead and it wasn't too far or too grand of a lead, would you start making a few more safety saves, or would you think that you need to keep building as much of a lead as you can?
I'd make the saves.
Make the saves and, you know, just don't have any of those major time losses?
Yeah.
Well, Roos so far seems to agree with you. He's made 1. We'll see if he opts to slow down to pick up any extra crystals, or if that's going to be the only save he makes so far. This earlier portion of Misty tends to be considered kind of the easier half. We'll see on the back half where maybe some lead changes will happen. Randomson, ooh, I thought he ran out of energy for a second, but he's looking pretty good still. And he also makes a safety save.
Roos heading up to climb.
With that, that's going to be the second to last skill that Roos will collect. 1 more to go. As soon as he gets out of Misty, he'll be venturing off for that final one. Randomson is still not letting this these mistakes such as the cellless fast stompless trick from earlier. He's not letting that get to him. He's still entered another color code along the way. He's trying to make sure he has fun with this race, and that's probably the best way to stave off any kind of jitters, I think.
Roos with another safety save. Looks like he's going for being a bit more on the safe side than trying to build up a bit of a lead.
Yeah, not opting to spend that energy for speed. And like you said, that's probably the right call here, Poogle. Just making sure that he doesn't have any catastrophic time losses. He doesn't need to build the extra 2 seconds here and there. He knows that Randomson and himself go for very similar strats and tricks, but just making sure that he doesn't have any kind of big mistakes that could even the race out in just an instant. Ooh, nice rocket jump through the meatball shaft from Roos, clearing every single bramble in there. And now heading into the mini-boss. Again, on the left side, watch this beautiful, well, semi-beautiful kill. Finishes off one. He's out of energy for the other, but he should get a level up from this. Now, Randomson is already over to the meatball shaft. Does not go for the rocket jump here, so not quite saving that time on Roos, but we do know that he has the chance for a quicker kill on the mini-boss. Here he goes, dropping a save beforehand. He's going to be charge jumping, dashing, stomping, and bam! They are gone immediately, so Randomson definitely saving time. Roos is now clear out of his way, or sorry, clear out of Misty, and will be going to Light Grenade next to pick up the final skill. Not much separates these runners from both each other or the end of the game, Poodle.
That it doesn't. Oh, Roos going back through Blackroot Burrows with a lot more movement options now. Makes the beginning part of the game seem rather trivial.
It certainly does, doesn't it? It's kind of fun that we get to backtrack a bit. You don't get to see that in, you know, necessarily every category. Roos is going to come up to try to make an early laser cycle here. He's going to dash and then jump and try to sneak his way through. There it is. The Yoka cycle is completed for Roos, and now he's still looking strong. Oh, just as I say that, he dashes right into the spikes. It's going to both burn an energy and, of course, drop his health. He luckily has plenty of energy, though, to still skip this cutscene, or that would have easily given Randomson the lead. But now Randomson coming up for his cycles as well. Ooh, had a bit more trouble with it and decides to wait on one. That's also going to hurt him on the way out. So even though...
Take the charged bash method up instead of bashing up the bird.
Yeah, I think just going for whatever he found safer at the moment, not a bad decision at all. Roos, of course, it's his race to lose at this point. Any big mistakes could give Randomson the catch-up. He has to wait on this cycle here, but he should be able to fly through the rest of it. And yes, he does. Not quite getting the full value out of that rocket jump that he would have liked, and having a bit of trouble with the walls. But Randomson, meanwhile, he's trying to do every strat he can to catch himself up using a grenade jump. Unfortunately, not able to make it happen, so going to lose a bit more time just for setting it up.
Roos on his way to...
Oh, and there it is! Randomson, because he had to wait on the cycle on the way in, has to wait on one on the way out. Seems to have forgotten that when he went for the rocket jump, and this time he'll climb up a bit slower. Luckily, he did rekindle that save on his way out, so he didn't lose near as much time as if he had been sent all the way back to the tree. But with less than 20 seconds separating these runners just before that death, that's not what Randomson needs to do right now. He needs to go ahead and finish out as quickly as he can and just hope that Roos makes some kind of mistake. But he's now got his 6 health, and he is powering through to Mount Horu.
Roos heading up to the door warp. What do you think, Hobbs? First try, second try?
That's always a hard one. Frame perfect tricks are not easy to call. I'm going to go ahead and guess that Roos will take 2 tries at this one, but maybe he'll prove me wrong.
I think he'll get it first try.
All right, well, we got our locked-in votes here. We'll see if he gets it on the first attempt. And he does! So, excellent job, Poogle, and not opening the window at all for Randomson. Of course, there are still scary moments left for Roos. He's into the final escape now. Losing a run to the end of the final escape costs you around a minute, a little bit more, in fact. So with Randomson now on his attempt at door warp, if he manages to pull off a first try door warp, he'll probably be in the escape while Roos is still trying to finish it up. And whoa, Roos having some trouble with the boulders is going to have to catch himself and barely saves himself. Now he's going to have to wait on a fire pillar here, though. Randomson gets the first try door warp. Excellent job. Now, 1 death from Roos will even this race almost completely.
1 death or a soft lock.
Certainly, because he's coming up to the hardest sections here. Dirty Water will be trying to destroy Ori, and it's not going to happen to Roos. So he is going to avoid spawning Kuro, head up to his final trick, frame perfect trick that also has a few pixels of precision to it. He lines up pretty nicely. It's going to be through cleanly. Excellent job by Roos to take that victory. Wow. With, I think I would say less than 40 seconds if Randomson finishes this out on the first attempt.
Absolutely. Randomson now dropping towards the poisoned water. Stomping into it, and let's see. And he's through as well.
And neither runner actually needing that safety 6 health that they went for, so great job by both of them. Randomson, I'm sure he's not going to be happy to be 0-2 in this matchup, but maybe he can meet Roos later in the brackets because he fires on through and will be completing his run shortly as well. GG from both runners because, wow, what a close race we had.
Absolutely. This is going to be maybe, what, 30 seconds not even?
I don't even know because Richard needs to press the button, but we'll find out these times soon. It looks like we had a finish time of 33:11 for Roos. We'll get that updated momentarily, and Randomson, of course, following very, very quickly. Wow, 2 33s in the same race is an unbelievable
Holy heck.
And here we go. Randomson looked to be about a 33:42 to me, but we'll have to get final confirmation on his time. And wow, I mean
43.
43. So 33:43 for Randomson means that we had just 32 seconds of difference between these two. I believe that was...
You know what? That's exactly the difference between their PBs.
I was going to say that was the same as their PBs. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
GG to both runners. I gotta get a word from these guys.
Oh my gosh.
Because, oh man, what an amazing job to come out and set such expectations with a 32-second difference in PBs and then perform on those expectations by not only matching that difference in the race, but also on top of that, I want to get a complete double check on that. Yes, both runners performing less than 1 minute off of their PBs.
Oh, that is incredible.
That is fantastic. So I'm going to be grabbing our runners here. Let's go ahead and get our winner here. Roos is loose now in the channel with us. Roos, how are you feeling, man?
I think I need to go to a doctor because my heart rate has been 250 for the last 30 straight minutes. Good Lord.
I can only imagine. I'm going to go ahead and immediately pull in our second place finisher here, Mr. Randomson, as well, because I want to talk to both of you. Randomson, how are you feeling after that one?
That was a close one.
It certainly was. I need to know immediately. So we knew that Roos was actually watching the stream, or was watching your stream as well, knew where you each were towards each other. Were you watching the stream, Randomson? Did you have any idea of how close Roos was?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you both knew the entire time. What an unbelievable match that was. All right, so let's try to kind of take a step back. let's slow the heartbeats down a little bit, and let's take a look back at Blackroot Burrows all the way back early on. Roos, you took that one death that isn't the worst in the world, but was certainly a nasty one to take very early. How were you feeling after that point?
Like looking back, in a weird way, it may have actually helped, because as soon as it happened, like, you should have heard. It's a good thing my mic is muted, because I certainly could not repeat what I said there. And I think it almost kind of like made me rage run after that, because I was like, this game is so stupid. Oh my god! And because I was mash and jump on that platform and slid down anyway. And I think in a way that sort of like focused me up and made me stop worrying about the rest of my run, and it actually helped in some bizarre way.
And we were almost guessing the same over here, because I was just sitting there going, man, Roos is watching. He's got to be coming for just letting that be a motivational factor, right? Just not letting that stop you. Now, Randomson, I want to ask you specifically about the entire area that was Thornfelt Swamp, because you come into the area of the lead, have a bit more trouble with the entry into Swamp, and then somehow just after it, after you leave the area, you end up with the lead again. What was going through your mind around that time?
When I was doing the entry, I thought it was pretty poor, but I wasn't watching Bruce's stream at that time. I was too focused.
Okay, so didn't even know that, like, that was the deciding factor yet. But then back at Kuro cutscene skip, did you get the chance to kind of check in and see what was going on?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I think it was in the lead.
You guys were virtually tied at the fifth energy cell. That little extra spider shot it took you was all it took to even it back up.
Wow.
And then just continually performing from there on out. But I guess the big moment, I hate to harp on kind of the mistakes, but when you didn't quite get that cell during Fast Stompless.
Sad sellers.
Yeah, of course. Very sad indeed. Now, were you immediately kind of scrambling to figure out what to do, or did you go, okay, I'm just going to do the old frog juggle, I can fall back on old strats?
Yeah, I had the backup.
Okay, so immediately you had it all planned.
The rest of Sorrow we can just forget. Weird.
Well, excellent job to both of you. Any last words for our runners, Poogle?
No, I'm just blown away. That was spectacular.
It was indeed. I don't know if you guys know, but you actually matched your PB difference exactly. 32
Is that true? Wow.
32-second difference in PBs and 32-second difference in that race. Congratulations on a great performance. And of course, you don't want to take the loss ever, Randomson, but that was an excellent starting best race time, and I'm sure you can still fly on through the rest of the groups and still get a great seed from that. Roos, I'm sure you're looking for that 3-0. Looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can clean that up next Saturday, that'll be a real nice improvement over how the first tournament a year ago went. Looking forward to that.
Well, we'll have to hope that you guys match up in brackets again so Randomson can finally get some revenge for the 2 tournament matchups so far. Well, thank you very much, guys. Congratulations again. And folks, don't worry. We've got more coming, more Ori action coming at you next. Got Xavier versus Mr. Grease coming up next. And I think that's going to happen still right here on Speed Gaming 2. So thank you, Poogle, for commentating with me.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to our truckers and our restreamer.
Yeah, and we'll see you all in just a few moments.